Hey guys, this is Matthias from 5 Minutes of Poker, and today I'm going to talk about opening ranges and what cards you can and should open from mid position or hijack in 6 max hold'em when it's your turn to act with 4 players behind you on a table with more than 6 players. First up, this is the range I'm currently using. It's 20.7% of the hands. I've always thought about the mathematical perspective of poker, and let's say if you think that you can open between 16-17% from early position, then when you move to mid position, there's 4 players left in the pot instead of 5 players, so there's only 80% of really strong hands that you can play against compared to when there was 5 players. So one could argue that you could play 25% more hands because there's only 4 players to act behind you instead of 5. And if you would take that argument and give yourself a 16% opening range in early position, then you would be able to open 20%, and that seems to be about the somewhere around what people tend to open. So as always with opening ranges, you can debate which cards you should open, but as your ranges grow wider, the equity difference between the cards you add, it starts getting less and less. So the difference in EV between 9-7 suited and 8-6 suited here is very, very little. You will probably make much more profitable adjustments by looking at the players who are left to act behind you, how often they call your bets, how often they 3-bet, how often they fold in the blinds to your races, instead of looking at, should I raise 9-7 suited or should I raise queen jacks off, because they're gonna play very similar and they're gonna have very similar EV. But it is also important that since many players these days use a HUD and get information on how you play, you can't go overboard by opening too many hands, because then they're gonna adjust by 3-betting you, and your win rate is gonna take a big hit. So you need to be opening a reasonable range and also defend that range against 3-bets if you're facing tough opponents. I've done an analysis and aggregated how regs play using Hand to Note, which is a powerful software, and I'll put a link up to it in the description. These are the hands that the regs, as I have defined them, play. You can see here that it's a clear cutoff between Ace-10 and Ace-9, King Jack off. Many seem to be playing Queen Jack off, and then there's some debate with other Broadway cards like King 10, Queen 10, Jack 10 off. All the suited aces are played. I mean, if they're played in early position, they're probably played in mid position also. And here I'd say I think most regs open deuces, so this is maybe some it's probably showdown bias, but there might be some players who still folds deuces here. And then you can see 5-4 suited is opened a lot more, and but nobody's opening 4-3 suited. I've put together a compilation of the green cards are 17.8%. that I think it's the bare minimum of hands you should open from mid position. The blue cards are debatable. If you add all the blue cards, you get up to 25.2%, which I think is too high. playing against if you play against normal opponents. I mean, if there's a recreational player in the blinds that you want to play pots against, feel free to open up your range, or if there's someone, if the big blind is overfolding, like 80-85% something to your mid position raise, then also feel free to adjust by opening more hands. But as I said earlier, it's getting more and more important on selecting your range based on your opponent's tendencies rather than the strength of the hands, because all of these blue hands have pretty similar EV, and they just some playing styles prefer to have like hitting high pairs, and some prefer hands where you can barrel on a lot of cards like 5-4 suited and 8-6 suited. So that's more up to you how you choose to play. If we look at computers, Poker Snowie is playing these hands, and I built a diagram showing this. There's gonna be a link to this color range, which is a program that I've created, so you can download it if you want in the description. Snowie suggests opening 19.2%, roughly, because I can't put partial hands in this coloring program. So I mean somewhere between 19 and 20%, but this is 2.25x open. If you go up to a 3x open, Snowie is gonna go down to maybe 17-18% of hands instead. As I discussed in my earlier video, this is most likely due to the fact that Snowie is playing against tougher opponents that 3-bet more than the general population. So as long as the population under 3 bets, feel free to open more hands, but be prepared to adjust and tighten up your range if you're playing against tough opponents, or if the poker climate change and people start 3-betting more. I should also run this in SPSS. I've gathered this data from Holdem Manager, exported it as a CSV, and then I'm using this statistics program to produce the output. So you can see here that the average is 21%. This is the winning regs, and somewhere between 17 and 23% would catch like 85% of all the rigs. So I'd suggest that somewhere around that area you want a 3-bet or 3-bet open. That's it. That was what I had to say about which card you should open from mid position. If you have any comments or suggestions on topics or presentation or whatever, or question about software, just leave a comment and I'll try to answer it as fast as I can. Good luck at the tables. Take care.